And this past year has taken us on a lot of adventures in our 2024 Alliance Delta 294RK during cold snaps. And overall, we have absolutely loved this RV, but we have had one major issue with it. Hey, my name is Joe and I'm one half of Two Crazy Campers. And after losing a combined weight of more than 200 pounds, we discovered we had so much more room for activities. Come along with us as we explore the great outdoors and join us on a brand new adventure. And this past year has taken us on a lot of adventures in our 2024 Alliance Delta 294RK during cold snaps. And overall, we have absolutely loved this RV, but we have had one major issue with it. And that is when we turn on the furnace, it gets way too hot here in the bedroom, which is where I'm standing right now. And there is a good explanation for it. The furnace for this RV is right here underneath this cabinet. And that furnace splits off and puts the hot air into several places. One being here in the bedroom, one in the bathroom, and then one in the living space. The problem is when you turn it on, it's going to push a majority of that hot air here into the bedroom because that is the closest place to the furnace. The next closest place is the bathroom, and then finally the back room. And then what happens is when you turn on that furnace, this bedroom gets really hot. The other reason for that is because the thermostat, which you can see right here, does not control the heat. The thermostat that controls the heat is out in the living space, which means the furnace will not turn off until that thermostat gets to the temperature that you want. So let's say you set the temperature to 70 degrees. The heat's not going to turn off until that one gets to 70 degrees. Meanwhile, it's about 95 here in the bedroom. So today, it's going to be a super short video. I'm going to show you how we can fix that by having this particular furnace in the bedroom control the furnace. Now, before we get started, I should say we have tried some other solutions. For example, changing out these vents so that they're adjustable so that you can block some of the airflow, but it just still hasn't helped. So today we're just going to go ahead and change out the pieces for the thermostat. Now, the first thing you need to do is take out this drawer so that you can access the furnace. And you're going to see over here is the wiring for the furnace. What you want to do is get a piece of thermostat wire. So I have some thermostat wire right here. And here's the thing, you only need one strand, but the cheapest stuff that I found was this 2-strand, but we're just going to use a single strand. So here on your wiring, you're going to find a blue and a brown wire that have been connected with a Wago connector. What we're going to do is we're actually going to add another wire in here. Now you can either add another one into here or you can go buy a 3-way Wago. For me, because this wire is really small, I'm just going to use the 2-1 that is connected here. And what we're going to do is take one of the wires and we're going to put it into the same side as this brown. So what I've done is I've taken the white wire that is in this thermostat wire, and we're simply going to open up this Wago connector, and we're going to, after stripping it of course, stick it in with this other wire that is brown. And then we're going to close up the Wago connector. Now if you want, you can actually disconnect that brown one. That brown wire is leading out to the other thermostat. So if you want to make sure you don't accidentally use both thermostats, you can disconnect that one. I'm just going to leave it connected and know that we have both of them, but you can only ever use one thermostat to control the heat. You can also leave it connected and change a setting on the thermostat, which I'm going to show you in a little while. So the next thing we need to do is take this thermostat off, and you're going to see your wires here. And what you're going to notice is you have one less wire here than on the other thermostat. So we're going to run that wire up through the wall to right here, and we're going to connect it to this section right here where it says W. Now comes the hardest part. We need to fish the wire from the furnace up to the thermostat. The problem is you don't have a lot of room. Let me show you what's going on. So this wall right here, that's your bathroom wall. We can't drill into that because if you drill into that to get behind the thermostat, you're gonna drill right into your bathroom. The space between your bathroom and the bedroom wall is this piece right here. That's all there is. So you can see down here how they have the electrical wire, if we can come up in here, running into there. So what we need to do is drill a hole through this to get to the space that is behind the thermostat. And we can go up as high as you want. Now technically, you could actually drill your hole all the way up here. This paneling is just continuing down, and you can see right here where the wood stud is. So you could drill right here, and that is gonna put you just a little bit below the thermostat on the other side, and that's probably the easiest place to go. I didn't do it the easy way. Instead, I drilled a hole right here, and I drilled a 3/4 inch hole. I'd probably go a little bit bigger to make it easier. Maybe make it a 1 inch hole. I mean, again, this is just really holding your paneling. It's not like it's like a support for your whole wall or something like that. And then what I did was I dropped a string down so that I can grab it. So what I did was I tied a few washers onto the end as a little bit of a weight to get that string to drop down, but it was still hugging the wall and I couldn't find it with the hole. That's why I suggest making that hole a little bit bigger. So then what I did was I tied that string to the bottom of a wire tape, and then I fished the wire tape through the wall as well, because using the wire tape, it was able to push it away from the front wall a little bit. And then we used just another piece of wire to grab that string and kind of pull it out through the hole. So you can see I have the wire tape right here. The string is tied off on it, and the only purpose of this wire tape was to push it away from the wall a little bit. So now the string was hanging straight down in the wall. Then I took a piece of wire and I basically just kind of pushed it in, fiddled around with it, and then carefully pulled it out through the wall just like that. Now we can tie this wire off to the end of the string and pull it back up. Now I will say it took me a couple of tries to get this out. So definitely tie your wire off to this really well so that you don't lose it through the process and have to do this all over again. So what we're gonna do is kind of push this in, and then we'll pull up on the wire tape. So now we should be able to pull this up. So you see I got it here, and now we can just pull out all of this wire. Now, one thing to point out with your routing, make sure when you take that wire, you run it behind the rails. If you run it this way, it's obviously going to get caught. So you got to run behind the rails of your drawers to wherever your hole is. Now just strip off the end and then cut the wire you're not using. If you're like me and you're using like a 2-strand piece, the red one's not connected anywhere. I just don't want to confuse myself. Now we're going to strip off the end of this and put it into the back of the thermostat. Once you have your wire stripped, it is going to go right into this place where it says W. So right next to the GL, which is your fan. And we're going to push this in and then give it a little tug to make sure it locks in. So now we're connected to the thermostat, but we're not quite done. So over here on the back of the thermostat, there are 3 dip switches. And right now, you're gonna see the bottom one is pushed that way. The middle one is pushed that way towards gas, which is correct, but the top one is on cool only. So we need to push that over to cool and heat. So these are the settings that you're supposed to have. Let's look at the front of the thermostat because you're still not done. So if we press the button on our thermostat to switch and it's now flashing off and you go cool and then turn it over again, you don't see heat. That's because we need to power cycle this thermostat. And there's 2 ways you can do this. Either A, you can pull out this red wire, and when you pull out that red wire, that's gonna take power off the thermostat, and then you can put it back in and then the heat will go in. Or what you could do is just turn off all of the power to the RV. So you need to turn off your 12 volt, and that also means if you are plugged into shore power, unplugging from shore power or turning off your converter by flipping the breaker. You basically have to kill all of the power to this thermostat. For me, it's easier to just pull that red wire. So now if we press the button, we can go over and switch it over, and we have cool and then we have heat. So we're gonna press heat, and then we're gonna turn it on, and there you go. Our furnace is on. Now let's go ahead and turn that off because we certainly don't need to set the temperature to 94 degrees. So we're gonna push it over here to cool. Put it on fan low, and let's see if our air conditioner comes on. Air conditioner is on. So right now, both of them are running, but not really. The air conditioner is running, but the heater blower is running, but it is not heating. So if you didn't know, whenever you turn off your furnace on your thermostat, the blower is going to continue to run for 2 or 3 more minutes to kind of cool down the system. So in a couple seconds, that will turn off. I'll turn off the air conditioner up here, and then we can wrap up this video. One thing to note, as we have it set up right now, both thermostats are controlling our furnace, the one out here in the living space and the one in the bedroom. I wouldn't leave it that way. The whole purpose of this project was to make it so that the bedroom thermostat is controlling our furnace. This way the bedroom doesn't get too hot. So if you have them both controlling it, you could end up messing with the system because at one point you may have both of them sending weird signals, like one telling it to turn off and one turning it to tell on. So I would just make it so only the bedroom controls the furnace. The thing is when we would go out, even when you had the thermostat out here controlling it, it never really worked properly because we would have the fireplace on. The fireplace would heat up this space very quickly, and then the thermostat wouldn't even turn on the furnace. And then at night, when we would turn the fireplace off because we wanted to have the heat in the bedroom, it would get really hot because the thermostat was out here and it wasn't actually turning off the heat until it got warm out here. So changing it like this really will help the whole situation. Now, if you're in a situation where you're boondocking and you want to sit out here and your thermostat's going to turn off when the bedroom gets to the right temperature, what you can do is just change out your little vent covers so that they have adjustable airflow. This way it doesn't blow as much heat into the bedroom and it will force more of it out here. Don't close it off completely, just kind of limit that flow a little bit. That'll force more out here, but this way the bedroom will get warm, but it'll turn off when the bedroom gets to whatever temperature you want, but it'll take a little bit longer. So to change this front thermostat so that it is not controlling the heat, just go to the back, that top dip switch, and put it over on cool only. And then once again, you're gonna have to power cycle the system by either turning off all of your 12 volt or by just pulling this red wire and then reinserting it. So now when we check this front one, we can go cool, and it doesn't have heat. So now this front one will only control our air conditioner. And that's it. Super easy modification that is going to solve my biggest complaint with this RV, which is the bedroom would get too hot when we turned on the heat. Overall, it's a very quick, easy modification. The hardest part about the whole thing is running that wire from the furnace up to behind the thermostat. Just take your time, use whatever you have on hand. The string method worked really well. You can use the string method, drop that down, grab it with a loop piece of stiff wire, a wire hanger, whatever you have on hand. You could technically run it all the way up into the ceiling to the air conditioner and then drop it back down, but that would be a real pain in the neck. The other thing you could do is run it into the bedroom and drill a hole, but I didn't want to do that either because I didn't want to see the wire. But very easy modification, just take your time. If you have any questions, leave it down below in the comment section. I'll do my best to help you out. Now, if you get any kind of use out of these videos, please do us a favor. Hit that like button down below. That does two things. Number one, it really does help build our channel, but more importantly, it lets us know what kind of videos you guys are looking to see. And until next time, happy camping.